The big lies are out there. USAID is a poorly run organization and it's ripping the people off and it's full with a whole bunch of liberal crazies and on and on and on and on. And they've now Donald Trump and his minions has decimated the USAID, an organization that does so much good around the world. Well, ironically, as USAID is doing great things around the world, and by the way, all those things that it does around the world is actually pre-approved by 3 different agencies: the Congressional Oversight Committee, OMB, and several other organizations that actually validates what it's actually doing. But I digress. All the good that these organizations do, all the material that they purchase, a lot of it comes directly from where again? Right here in the United States, which means that money that is used to fund USAID actually creates economic activity right here in the United States, because a lot of the food that goes over there is food that our hard-working farmers produce. I want you to listen to Joy and Reid, and then we'll take it on the other side.
It appears as though we have officially reached the find out phase of Donald Trump's presidency, as red states are starting to feel the pain of what actually happens when Trump's plans are put into action. Popular Information is reporting that in Huntsville, Alabama, about 250 customers of a public utilities company received a letter informing them that their account has been debited $100. They say it is a direct result of an executive order signed by Trump that froze a grant meant to assist low-income residents with their energy bills. And Trump's abrupt decision earlier this week to stop minting new pennies may not be going over so well in heavily Republican Greene County, Tennessee, home to the nation's sole manufacturer of penny blanks. And all of Trump and Elon Musk's dismantling of government programs and slashing federal funds, yeah, spoiler alert, that's going to hurt red states too. USAID, for example, has a program called Food for Peace, which spends hundreds of millions of dollars buying goods from American farmers and businesses to distribute around the world to help fight hunger. So gutting the agency means hurting farmers in places like Kansas, where the program was founded. On top of that, you have Republican Senator Mitch McConnell, for years, probably Trump's most notorious enabler, now warning his constituents in an op-ed that the tariffs Trump is promising could have negative consequences for the state's 75,000 family farms that sell their crops around the globe, or the hardworking Kentuckians who craft 95% of the world's bourbon, or our auto industry. Joining me now is Angelo Carasone, President and CEO of Media Matters, and Antoine Seawright, Democratic strategist. Who would have thunk it, Angelo, that a lot of these cuts willy-nilly being made by some 20-somethings and the normalized Indian hate guy are going to hurt Trump's own base? Is that message, do you think, getting out beyond just local news? You watch the media.
It's not yet. And that's, I think, the top line takeaway here. One is that, and we know where this is going to go, too. So that low-income heating program where those people lost that money, that was straight out of Project 2025. I mean, right in the 900-page book, that was one of the programs that they were targeting. So in effect, Trump is just implementing a lot of the things that they've already written and prepared for, which means we know what's coming next, and we know the people that are going to be affected by it, which means there's no excuse for Democrats, for the news media, not to be able to connect the dots. And your question is the important one here, because if we don't help build that connective tissue for his actions to the harms that people are already experiencing, what's going to happen is that because they have narrative dominance and they have that massive megaphone, when people start to ask questions, hey, why is this happening? They're going to blame the deep state, malicious implementation, right? They're going to use that anger and kinetic energy and turn it right back around to gather more power for themselves. So it is both an important opportunity, but we also need to make sure we're telling this story so that we actually prevent them from using it to get stronger.
Absolutely. And Antoine, you made a video actually that that sort of walks Democrats through sort of a way to tell this story, not even just on the red state pain, but just on the price increases that everyone is feeling right now. I'm going to play just a little bit of that. that. Do we have it? Maybe we have a little bit of that.
We will stop inflation. We will make America affordable again. We have tremendous potential in this country.
The president's tariffs are expected to have a major impact on the price American shoppers pay.
Tariffs that could raise prices for many products.
It'll also bring your grocery bill way down.
Consumers can expect to see increases on items like avocados, berries, and meat products.
The word grocery, it's sort of simple, but it sort of means like everything you eat.
With many thanks to our director downtown, Sterling Brown. Here is your article, Antoine. Is Trump ignoring his promises that won him the election? What should Democrats be asking? Where should they be playing that video?
Well, Joy, I can tell you this, as the old African-American proverb tells us quite clearly, we tried to tell y'all. The fact of the matter is what we see now is a governing style of ram, jam, and screw. Ram these government overreach extreme policies down the throats of the American people, jam up the news cycle with multiple things at one time, and screw whatever constituency that will be impacted by these. And quite frankly, I think the American people need to understand that these policies and this government overreach and this extremism does not just impact Democrats. It does not just impact those who may not have been for Donald Trump. It impacts everyone. In my home state of South Carolina, we better known in many places as the battery capital of the world. The largest investments from the Inflation Reduction Act, perhaps in any other state. We've had 2 or 3 announcements where companies will not produce what they said they were going to produce. Just in Georgia a few weeks ago, the same thing. And so I think what's going to happen at the end of the day, if you look at his extremism, along with what the Republicans want to do in the Congress with this budget cut in terms of Medicaid, people are going to be hurting, and the people who benefit the most are going to hurt the most, in my opinion, those who voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, who's going to gain the most, Angelo, are, Trump and his family. They're already reaping money. They're selling meme coins. They're personally, enriching themselves. Elon Musk is signing himself up for contracts while canceling Medicaid money.
Yeah, I mean, 800,000 people lost money in that deal. They thought they were going to get rich. They thought they were going to make some money off of Trump's momentum, and they lost it. And that's the nature of a lot of these scams. And that's a part, that's the part about this that makes this even more intense, is that it's not just that they're using policies to directly affect people and harm people and transfer wealth. They're also then using their cultural and social influence to then fleece them and pick their other pocket with these with these other gambits, and that and then further align their pockets. And I mean, they are really successfully managing to double dip in the most odious ways.
Remember, Donald Trump promised on day one he was going to bring down inflation. He was going to lower the price of car insurance and all these other things. And here we have prices of egg, gas, and goods and everything in between are still up. And yet his constituents who voted for him on this notion are the ones who are suffering the most. They're not in blue states. They're not in urban cities. They're in rural America. They're in urban America. They're all over the country. And that's why if you look back and reflect on this election, what people understand is it was easier to be angry than it was informed. Because if you were an informed voter in this election, it was not a policy thing that the president put up that was going to benefit working class Americans as they thought it would have when we tried to make this idea that the election was going to be about economics and microeconomics in particular. Not one person who voted for him is benefiting from that, except that the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected.
So yes, now there are over $2 billion that our farmers need to be paid, that our farmers' products needs to be delivered. And of course, Elon Musk in his infinite wisdom has stopped that. These guys are screwing things over and over again, laying people off that shouldn't be laid off, like they did at the Atomic Agency, where now they're scrambling to find those people that they laid off. Folks, when you want to work within government, you should like government, and you should do it with an attitude of positivity, and not that you're attacking those hard workers who work for government. And that is what they're doing right now. That is what they're going to pay the price for, because ultimately speaking, government is not bad. Republican politicians have a good way of, in fact, making government bad, because they depend on making government bad so that they can then use the very inefficiencies to go ahead and add inefficient private sector companies who have a record of ripping off the American people left and Well, I shouldn't say left. Right and right is what I should say. The private sector in government has a constancy of ripping off the American people.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.